It's like they smoke some really bad fucking meth. Because smoking weed wouldn't make you this fucking stupid.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Beyond the Controller. I'm Gladys, and joining me once again is Cryptic Panther
Hey, everybody.
and Fatti.
Hey, how's it going?
Uber can't make it again, so we'll be handling the show as a three-piece. Got a ton of news here, and a lot of it some real heavy news. Starting us off first, Panther, furthering the Belgian controversy. Tell us what's going on now.
Okay, I think we need to set a timer on this topic. Start the timer.
I'll flip
now.
my hourglass.
There you
Okay,
go.
go.
All right. So, the Belgian government opens a criminal investigation into EA. So the article reads, and I'm going to read, it's a pretty short one, so I'll read through it. Back in April, you might remember that Belgium declared loot boxes were effectively gambling and therefore illegal in video games. Minister of Justice Cohen Geens, I'm probably butchering that name. Sorry if you're listening to the podcast, buddy, but I don't know how to pronounce your name.
We know you are. Sorry.
Yeah. Said publishers could risk prison sentences up to 5 years and fines of up to 800,000. I think that's euro, that little backwards E symbol. That means euros, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, or pounds. In games with loot boxes continued to be distributed within Belgium. The country was resolute in wishing to protect minors and vulnerable players, particularly from games of chance being scrolled into computer entertainment. Some time has passed, and it appears that gaming industry big guns like Blizzard, Valve, and 2K Games have all disabled loot boxes in Belgium. While outside of 2K reported last week is telling their fans to contact their government and reverse
efforts are still being made from them.
Yeah, but not directly like what EA is doing. However, EA has shrugged off warnings so far and made no changes to the way its games use its addictive gambling technique. Today, there are reports that Belgium's Gaming Commission has opened up a criminal investigation via the Brussels Public Prosecutor's Office, and EA might be faced with going to court. Specifically, it is not observed that EA has kept its Ultimate Team packs from FIFA 18 and upcoming FIFA 19 releases. It has given no indication it will make any changes to comply with the law in Belgium. Based upon previous statements from EA executives like CEO Andrew Wilson's back in May, EA might be readying for a legal battle over loot boxes rather than giving in without a fight for this lucrative income stream. As Eurogamer reminds us, Wilson asserted that EA's games were developed and implemented ethically and lawfully around the world, and did not agree with the games could be considered in any form of gambling. Wilson went on to claim that loot boxes were not equivalent of gambling, as there is no way to cash out or sell loot items for real virtual currency. That's not gambling anyways. We had a big argument.
It's not gambling because you can only lose money. You can't get it back.
Yeah.
Sure.
But,
that's a great argument to make.
So, I mean, that is ridiculous. I mean, they did not, put their games out by following the laws of the world, considering the laws in Belgium have fucking changed. So you're now breaking the law. I mean, I understand FIFA 18. I'm not saying, well, the game had it before these rules come into play, yada, yada. That's a big gray area. It's kind of like a grandfathered in thing. Well, it was there in FIFA 18 before the law was made. We're not going to backpedal now. Right. But FIFA 19 has not been released in full release yet, so they could definitely make changes before implementing it in Belgium to remove the what they call loot boxes or card packs and et cetera, et cetera. So, this is unfucking believable that a gaming company is challenging a fucking government.
Yep.
Like, this is, like, if someone had told me back in the mid-90s when I was playing, Nintendo and whatever else, that someday EA was going to fight a fucking government over, in-game currency, I would have said, you're fucking retarded. Man, but 800,000 euros ain't nothing to EA, though.
To be fair, if someone told me in the late 90s that games would have microtransactions the way they do and basically have fucking gambling in them, I would have been like, oh, no, that's not going to happen.
True.
But here we are.
I guess if someone had told me 5 years ago, or even 2 years ago that EA was going to fight a government, over microtransactions, I would have thought you were crazy.
Right. Well, and you got to figure like how this usually happens is there's, when they threaten legal action through a criminal investigation and all that, the charge of 800 euros is going to be not in itself, exceptional or a large fine that EA would even sniff at, but it's that this is probably going to be on however many accounts they've sold.
That's
probably
possibility.
per infraction.
Yeah, I hope so.
So if that's the case, if they sell 10,000 units in Belgium that are breaking this law, then that's 10,000 times 800,000.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying that's absolutely how it is, but in my mind and how these legal proceedings usually work, it's going to be a separate account for each unit sold, because that's breaking the law each time, right?
That's very true. Yeah,
that's how I'm interpreting this.
That's quite a possibility too. But I just look at it like this it's setting huge precedent.
Yes.
I mean, if EA wins, we're fucked.
Right. This is going to be basically the case that makes or breaks this whole thing.
It's quite possible. It's mind bending that, the statement he said how, Wilson wanted to claim that loot boxes are not equivalent to gambling, as there is no way to cash out or sell loot items for real or virtual currency. Well, you can't.
Yeah.
That's not what gambling is. And I mean, you weren't there for it, Fatti, but we had a massive discussion. It divided a previous podcast like big time when we were discussing loot boxes via gambling, etc. It was a pretty big heated debate. But I mean, it's sad that they would rather go to court and face possible fines. I mean, I can't see who would out of them who would go to fucking prison. I can't imagine the CEO of fucking EA going to prison. But I could them risking fines and a big huge black mark against them on a world stage. But considering the amount of money that they make off FIFA Ultimate Team, they're not scared $800,000 per infraction.
No, what really gets me is that this, like Baker said, this could be the case that changes how gaming is from now on if they win. And that is fucking terrifying. As a gamer, that could change literally everything. And it's just scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, it's not a pleasant thought of EA winning this. And I have to think that EA is measuring the power that they can bring to bear, through their legal means as a $1 billion company versus what little old Belgium can do. And that's probably why. If this was, a bigger country, not taking anything away from Belgium, but, it's not the scariest place in the world to have somebody make threats at you from. And if this was one of their bigger markets, which I'm sure it's not, but if this was, the UK going against them, or France or Spain or something, where you got to figure they're getting millions and millions and millions of dollars from all these sports games and everything like that. If it was a giant market share country that was going after them like this, I got to feel like they'd make some changes. But obviously this is important to them. I mean, this is their whole business model now. It's in every EA game just about. And absolutely in the sports games, through and through. It's in the DNA of how they design these games now. So it is incredibly important to them. I'm not surprised that they're going to bat necessarily. I am surprised at the risk that they're going to take by possibly losing this, though.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about, for this version, we expect to sell 10,000 copies in Belgium or 50,000 copies or whatever. And, their accountants do the math. Okay, so we're going to lose, however many, $30 million of possible microtransactions from this section. But we're still going to make, 1.2 billion from all the other countries that haven't made it illegal for this. So it evens out. We're not worried about it. That's, it's going to have to progress further than that, because you imagine that if Belgium wins this court case, that it is going to set the precedent. And so every EA game or every other game company that's going to release a game in Belgium, this case is the one that's going to be referred to set the standard. So then they'll be able to, I think, increase what they're going for as far as penalizing these places. So right now they're setting it at 800,000. My guess, again, this is just a guess based on what's rational in the legal system. and how I think it usually would work is that that's per infraction or on a case-by-case basis. So if it's right now 800,000 euros or 800,000 pounds per copy that's sold, then my guess is that through a strike system or basically through continued breaking of the law, Belgium would either outright ban the games from EA or whatever game company pushes them further after this case is resolved, or they're going to increase the fines in such a way that EA would have no choice but to pull from that market itself or change the games. And I don't think that they're going to end up changing the games because, again, this probably isn't even a huge chunk and not even a significant chunk in any way of their actual market share. So I don't think they're necessarily afraid of pulling out. I think this is more of a risk reward that they're taking, that they're hoping they've got the legal muscle to overpower little Belgium. And that if they win this case because of the legal might that they can bear, then it gives them more freedom when fighting other countries over this, if it comes to that, because there will be a precedent that they have won.
Right. And that's the scary side of it. Like, I just done a quick Google, and I mean, this article is from last year, 2017, but it says EA's Ultimate Team business now contributes $800 million in net revenue annually, up more than 20% on year to year.
Yep.
So anywhere from $650 to $800 million they make a year off fucking people buying card packs in their games.
Yeah.
So
not even game sales.
People want to get fucking mad at me for pre-ordering games. Get mad at the fucking $800 million they spend on fucking card packs and video games. Pre-ordering ain't a problem. It's fucking this Ultimate Team shit is a problem.
Well, the problem, I think, honestly, is that it doesn't carry over. It's not even just that, each iteration having its own standalone Ultimate Team or whatever their version of it is, that the reason that this is such a predatory practice is because it's an annual release that doesn't carry over. So you could spend, hypothetically, $10,000 buying packs, and you could max out everything, and you could be, the most stacked person that you would ever play against, and that would give you such a competitive advantage. But it's only for that particular game. So then when the next year comes out, obviously you're going to want to upgrade. That's what everyone else is going to be playing, and the cycle starts again. That's why this is a predatory practice.
Yep.
It's not even necessarily that, if you spend it because each year, they add new features or whatever, but if there was some type of way that you could, upgrade for, say, $20, and it disabled your last game or whatever. For instance, like upgrading from Madden. Usually each year the features are generally the same. There's not a great improvement. We always joke it's just a roster update or whatever. But if I could somehow, because I was a previous Madden owner, if they switched how this game was sold to where I could either upgrade to it for a minimal fee or trade in my old game or whatever, if there was some method of replacement at a lower cost, and you could actually carry over your Ultimate Team stuff to the new upgraded game and all that stuff, you know what? There would honestly be less of an argument for me against this shit.
Me too.
For the sports games in particular.
But they're not going to make they're not going to make any money off that. But,
well, they would though, because if they make 800 million off of sales just from Ultimate Team, I mean, you got to figure that how much of the game sales portion is that?
That's on according to the article. That was off the Ultimate Team. Like, that's just off the microtransactions. That's not.
But I mean, like versus game sales, though.
Well, yeah, there was an article was just talking that it didn't do a game sale, but
so I just did the math though. So hang on, 800 million divided by 60, which is the standard U.S. price of a game, is 13.333 million. So just over 13 million in sales. Now I don't know, just off the top of my head, how many Madden copies are usually sold with each year, but I got to imagine it's around there, if not more, right?
Right.
I mean, Madden's a big franchise, plus FIFA, so it's at least comparable to what they actually make from the game, which is actually a little more than I thought. But even so, it's like selling the game twice over from what they make. So yeah, they would take a hit, but that would be a way to negate this whole legal controversy.
Well, if
in a way,
but I mean, if they let them carry over, if you had an Ultimate Team, say you spent like $500 on Ultimate Team on FIFA this year, FIFA comes out, you pay the $30 upgrade fee to get the new version of FIFA, and carry it over your Ultimate Team. You're not going to really looking to spend you may spend some more money on some more packs, but if you have a really good team carried over, you're probably not going to start investing another $200 to $300 in new players and new cards if you already have a stacked team.
No, not necessarily. I mean, I
there's going
think
to be
for
some people,
yeah, for sure.
Because
but here's the thing, though, is that if you tell people it's going to carry over, how many more people will invest? Because of that.
That's true. If they guarantee that your ultimate team will carry over, and you'd be like, oh well, if I spend $500 this year, then I don't have to spend that next year. But then, oh, it's going to carry over again. But if I buy all these card packs, that's just more. Yeah, I can see it being a way to do it to still make the money. They may lose in the bottom end at the far end of it, but they wouldn't be as predatory. I don't think in the long run they wouldn't look as predatory anyways. But I mean, I'm like it's fucking scary, and I mean, I don't know. They need to lose. They need to lose, and they need to lose badly. And this needs to be a precedent. Other countries need to see this, and other countries need to stand up the same way.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely needs to be a battle that's won for the good guys, and and then other countries take a heed, say, look, hey, if Belgium can do it, we can do it, and let's all get together and let's change the way things are done. I know there's a few states have even talked. I know Hawaii was one early, on the other side of this being, the loot box side of it. Maybe not as much as card packs, but more the random loot box stuff. So, even if they change loot boxes, I mean, card packs are one thing. I mean, the random loot boxes, like, basically the whole game of chance deal. If they get rid of those, that's a big step. But I mean, the card packs is another one. But then, EA is going to say, well, the quality of game is going to diminish. Well, maybe take a year off and making your roster update and give us a quality update, and then people won't bitch.
Yeah, I mean, and even in this year's Madden, one of the first features that they announced when you watch the Madden trailer is the all-new player movement graphics and whatever. Like, they say that every year, though.
Yep.
I mean, really, it's new that the players are running and moving true-to-life motion? And no, but it's the same claim that's repeated over and over.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that them saying, oh, well, this is going to affect, how we actually make the games and less money's going to be put in, that's fucking bullshit. You make billions as a company, billions of dollars. I mean, you've got the profit margin there, so what? Your CEO is going to have one less yacht? Like, fuck you guys.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's just disgusting. But yeah, they need to lose this. They really do. They need to lose it in such a hard way that nobody else wants to do this again.
I agree.
Yeah. Fatti, anything to add before we move on?
God, fuck EA.
Okay. All right. Well, moving on here. Somewhat, similar. We put these two topics back to back for this reason. Last week we talked about NBA 2K. 2K, the company, actually not making changes never mind. They were pushing their fans to appeal to the Belgian government over the changes that they had to make. So not taking the extra step that EA is now taking, as we just talked about, but one step below that, really, saying that the fans need to appeal to their legislators and basically ask them to be preyed upon by this company as they were in the past. So an example of 2K19 in this particular scenario is that they don't have, as far as I can read in here, the same type of packs and everything, but microtransactions are still as invasive as ever. And what this article is talking about is how basically every aspect of the game is just stuffed with microtransactions, and you're nickel and dimed with almost everything that you do. There's talk about how NBA 2K18 was more egregious in the way that this was done, such as you couldn't even get a haircut from the in-game barbershop without paying virtual currency. And basically everything is locked behind virtual currency, and that everything you do is constantly telling you that you need to spend virtual currency between any character customizations, but actually also within the skill points for progression. Everything is done by these virtual currency points. And you only get these from playing, but it takes a long time. So similar to, a mobile game which is free to play. You can grind, and technically it's free to play. You can get everything in the game through just playing naturally. However, it would take such a long time to basically max out somebody or to make the character worthwhile that you're going to be slogging through literally months of playing like shit or not being able to customize because you have to do your skill points because you're playing like shit. Or if you want to customize, you can absolutely do that and you're free to do so, but you're going to continue to play like shit for an even longer amount of time. So, I mean, I can pretty much say as a blanket statement, people don't want to play like shit. You know, you play a game and you want to be good at it. If you make a character, you want them to be skillful, you want them to progress and have success. That's the whole point of making a character. But you can't do that in this type of game in a quick amount of time, you know, without spending a bunch of actual money on virtual currency. So it's still basically a free-to-play game that you pay for that's also pay to win. So this is even after the controversy of 2K18. But it's just, as the article states as a headline, it's a nightmarish vision of our microtransactions stuffed future. And it's so fucking sad because we don't have to be here. There's no reason right now that games in 2018 have to be this way. It's just greed. That's all it is because there's any way that these companies can milk and drain and suck money out of their customers that have already bought their game. They're trying to do it. That's all it is. It's just fucking greed. And it's no longer about making games that are enjoyable. It's no longer about making games that impact people's lives in a positive way. It's no longer about bringing people together. It's just that bottom line that has to keep getting higher and higher and higher above where people can fucking breathe and play the game at the same time. It's disgusting.
I like this part in the article. NBA 2K19 is constantly begging you to spend VC. You're asked to spend VC on Gatorade for performance boosts, on vehicles to make progression around the plodding neighborhood mode quicker, on shoes and clothes. It's relentless. In your face, the moment you turn on the game, it doesn't leave until the second you quit. And quit literally get VC is right there underneath quit. Like, there's a screenshot in this article, and as always, the articles are going to be linked in the description. It says quit, and right below that is get, and it's got the little... If you look at screenshots from this game, I don't think there's too many in this article. There's a couple, but a lot of that. There's a spin the wheel thing.
It's got, fucking roulette wheel.
And I don't know what that costs you money. Probably does cost you money to use it. It's probably not a free spin a day.
It says daily spin, so I'm imagining it's one free spin per day.
Yeah, so it's in other words, or you can probably buy more because you can
probably buy more.
Hell, it's a way to suck money. But there was a screenshot I've seen, and I don't know if I could find it. It looked like a fucking mobile game. You know how we made fun of a few of the games that we played for Game of the Week because they were free to play. You know, like Iron Sights wasn't that bad for that. But what was another one we played?
Rules of Survival.
Rules of Survival. Yeah. It was a mobile game ported to PC, and it looked like a mobile game, and it had like everything was flashing, and there was coins and points, crazy shit all over the place. But at least the game played well, and you didn't have to spend money to play the game. But it was a mobile game, and this is what this looks like at a $60 price tag, and that's just the base package. That's not the middle edition, and that's not the $130 edition either they sell. So it's like, holy fuck, it's fucking sad and disgusting when you have companies like EA, and I mean EA does make other games that do publish other games that aren't all about microtransactions. Do they?
Like what?
No,
for real. Like what?
Yeah.
What was the 2-player co-op from Prison Escape game? That one.
A Way Out.
Or Way Out.
Way Out. Yeah, that's not
A Way Out.
That doesn't micro. And Unravel, and it didn't have any microtransactions.
Actually, I'm surprised because you could fit them in there by, charging like
for prison shanks.
Yeah.
We both went to the same spot, dude. Buy a shiv for $2.99 or buy 5 shivs for
prison supplies.
Yeah,
exactly.
But yeah, I mean, but you look at games that, like Spiderman, for instance, take God of War, take, you know, some of the larger single player games that, you know, are fucking amazing experiences for the Uncharted series. Yes, their multiplayer side of it is a little bit, it kind of has like a little microtransaction, but like outside of that little multiplayer thing that they do for the Last of Us and for the Uncharted series, the game you buy, look at even GTA, we're not talking about online, but the actual single player GTA, it is a quality fucking game.
Yeah.
It's a quality game. I mean,
and it doesn't have the predatory aspects.
No, I mean the online's a little shitty, but I mean that's how they continue for the last 6 or 7 years of giving like content every fucking month. I mean, it pays that, and people are paying for it, but you don't have to. Yes, you can grind, but I mean, like, whatever. It's not like it's still predatory, but not as bad as what the other game companies are doing. Because it's not every year they roll you over on GTA saying, "Oh, the money you spent last year's no more. Go to spend more." You know, at least what you bought day one for your equipment is still there and is still in the game, and to this day now. So at least it's not as predatory. But I mean, there's quality games being made. There's quality content. There's fucking indie game and AA title games that are, in my mind, leaps and bounds above what the fucking AAA guys are doing in some aspects because of the way they fucking just fill up on microtransactions and it's fucking just shit and like copy and pasted fucking shit. It's just, I'm so frustrated with how bad the side of gaming is. When you look at how good some of the other side of gaming is, it's night and day.
Yeah. And
it's sad that there's that large of a fucking split. That whenever there's indie developers out there making better fucking games than AAA because they don't fill it full of fucking horrible mobile style fucking microtransactions.
Well, and it's because there's a way to make your money in the gaming industry. You either make quality or you make addictive predatory games. And for EA and 2K, that's normally not possible to do both.
I guess not.
Because what we normally get from EA is either decent to great quality, but not fantastic usually. And they stuff it as much as they possibly can with predatory practices. With 2K, with their basketball series, it's been progressing further in that direction over the past few years as well. Like this article, I appreciate how actually scathing it is. This is from Kotaku. And one little line here, one paragraph actually is the highlight for me. It says 2K19 is like a free-to-play mobile game, a predatory experience where the game is always shaking you down for your lunch money, even after you've already given it 40 pounds. To play 2K19 is to be in a constant state of denial and refusal, always aware that in every aspect of the game, from the gyms to the stores to the action on the court itself, you can either spend VC, virtual coins, or be told that you're missing out on something. It's not fun to be around.
I can't imagine that. Like I don't play basketball games, and really I haven't played a lot of sports games in the last few years because of how like the online is like the be all end all, and if you're not playing online, the rest of the game seems to suffer because they know that they're making the money off the online only, and they want people to spend money on card packs. Like, I don't know, man. It's fucking, it's sad. It's sad. EA and 2K need to both fuck right off. I mean, they want to leave for, like, you know, they want to leave that in there for the players. Don't make it so fucking disgusting. Like, just back it down to a point where, you know, it's not the focus of your game is to fucking spend, you know, what if happens if you have a lot of money and you buy $5,000 of VC things? It doesn't go away. Like, you can't pay, like, it doesn't say, you know, buy a $100, you know, package of VC coins and never see the fucking ads again. Like, it doesn't give you an option to never see it. If you had, you know, if you had a large amount of money and didn't care about it, like, you had kind of like, oh, I can spend whatever I want, I have a good job, or, you know, I have a fucking, you know, I won the lottery, I can spend as much money on this game as I want. You'd never get rid of seeing the fucking constant barrage of buy VC.
Right. It wouldn't even change the experience.
Exactly. There's no way to, you can't even buy your fucking way out of it. It's just fucking, it's called, to me, if you buy these games, you're a masochist. Seriously. I mean, it's fucking blowing my mind to see the screenshots and hear people talk about it and other reviews that people done on this and how fucking disgusting. How do these people live with themselves?
Like, well, seriously. And I mean, I've bought 2K games before and I enjoyed them, but to take it this far, because I haven't played in a few years now, but from what I'm reading from this Kotaku article, it's that even in the creative player mode and the the my player or whatever they call it, when you start a career and you make a player, you can't even progress. So in the single player, you can't progress without these virtual coins.
Yeah. So
it's absolutely built around the DNA of trying to pry you from money.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Fatti, anything to add?
No, I'm not wasting my time on these people anymore. I lost faith in them when you told me they were asking them to fight the government, and now this, fuck them. I'm not wasting my time. They don't deserve it.
Fair enough.
I agree.
The only good way to approach these franchises now, I think, is really just if you insist on playing them, find the lowest cost way that you can, so they get less money, or just wait. I really wish that Madden didn't have an exclusive license with EA, or the NFL would branch out again. I think the best football game of all time was EA Sports 2K5, the football game.
Yeah.
I think that was the best football game ever made. And then right after that, the NFL went exclusive with Madden. So we haven't had, a professional NFL football game since then. I just, competition breeds excellence. And if there was an alternative choice to the Madden franchise that was much more gamer friendly, I have to imagine, that people would flock to it. I really do, because Madden offers a great experience usually each year. However, like I've stated before, for me personally, there's not enough improvement each year. But beyond that, the predatory practices that don't carry over means that their primary motivation for at least, almost 50% of their sales is going to be, how can we pull money from other people? And if that's just one, franchise that they have, and obviously we see it bleeding into others, this company just doesn't deserve the money.
No.
They simply do not. That's it. All right. Let's move the fuck on. Fatti, let's rage at a different company for a different reason. Tell us what's going on.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have some happy gaming news at some point, but it ain't right now. Nintendo's fucking up again, guys. This isn't surprising.
I'm shocked.
No, I'm not. This has been long going. Papa Nintendo's fucking up, and I'm tired of saying he's all right. Recently, Nintendo released an FAQ about their newly announced Switch Online service, which is basically like, your typical Xbox Live or PSN. It's going to let you play games against your friends using your Switch online. So, you can play your Splatoon or your Fortnite and all that stuff. And you just pay a small monthly or yearly fee, whatever you want. It comes with some features such as the online play. It comes with cloud saving for your games, and it allows you to play NES classic games and stuff like that. Someone on Reddit found a section in the FAQ that discusses what happens with your cloud saves after your subscription expires. And basically it says save data stored with the save data cloud cannot be kept outside the duration of your Nintendo Switch Online membership. It goes on to say, if you keep the data on your Switch locally, it will stay and you'll be able to access it as soon as you buy another membership. Now, this is fucking odd for gamers, because if you're saving to a cloud, much like you do on Xbox or PlayStation or even Steam, you kind of expect your saves to be there. And what Nintendo's saying is, well, if you're not paying us, we're not going to keep it on our servers. Basically, fuck you. We're going to delete it. So this just blows my mind, because if you look at their competitors, Microsoft gives free cloud saves to everyone, regardless of if you're an Xbox Live subscriber or not. And Sony, while you do need a subscription to access your saves, even if you expire your subscription, your saves are saved for at least 6 months. So if you get a PS Plus subscription again, you can access your games and your saves all over again. They're not instantly deleted. Nintendo is just going to say, "Oh, you're a day late. Fuck it, let's delete your games." That just isn't right. And the next part where it says if you keep it on your system, you'll have access to them when you buy a subscription. Okay, that's what Sony does, which is all right. But haven't we had enough issues with Switches and their memory as so far? Like,
Yeah.
they don't have a whole lot of memory as it is, and their memory cards are fucking expensive.
Yeah.
So right, and that was the point that I was going to make, is that yeah, there is an option for you to save, your local saves, and they're telling you to do it locally, but they don't give you a way that's low cost or organic into the system to give you enough space to do it. You have to spend more money.
Right, and they don't even let you download to a USB device. Like, if you could take your game saves and like, okay, I'll just download them to a 2 terabyte USB device, and then if I want to, take my game save for this game, I can just upload it to the SD card, and it'd be more of a pain in the ass switching back and forth. But at least you'd have the data. You can't transfer stuff to USB. It's micro SD cards or nothing, and they want you to buy their Nintendo branded SD cards because those are the best, they say.
Exactly. And I mean, there has been some workarounds released. There are people out there that got normal micro SD cards to work, and it's widely known how to do it, but it's not the Nintendo way. They don't recommend that. They say a bunch of shit about warranty and whatnot. So they're making it almost impossible to save it on your actual system because there's no space and it's too expensive. But then why fucking delete it? It's basically like Nintendo has never really understood how to run an online service, and this is just another nail in their coffin showing that they still don't understand how to run an online service. It's bewildering.
And going back to the PlayStation one, at least with PlayStation, if your game saves are on the cloud, if you have the hard drive space, you can copy those back to your hard drive and have access to them without a PlayStation Plus account.
Exactly. Or if you don't have space, it's there for 6 months.
Right. So you have 6 months to at least maybe clean up your drives, or maybe get a bigger drive for your PlayStation. Get a cheap month, go on to get all your shit re-downloaded, so you have all your game saves and everything else, and then you're good to go. You don't need it online anymore because you got it on your hard drive. Away you go. Nintendo doesn't allow you to do that. It's fucking disgusting that Nintendo is, at one time, they were the leaders and innovators in gaming. I grew up on Nintendo, man. Like, I mentioned this before. I was, I grew up in Nintendo, and I was excited when they announced they were making a current gen console, and then all of a sudden they came out with the Switch, and I was like, "Fuck you! It's way too expensive. The controllers are way too expensive. The games are more expensive, and
it's a step back in every direction except mobility."
Exactly. It's basically a fucking bigger DS.
Yeah, I will give Nintendo this. The plans for their online service is dirt cheap. I mean, you're looking at $20 US for a whole year, $3-4 a month. But that's not the point. If you're gonna give people the access to allow them to save their games on the cloud, which a lot of those games that are out there are pretty lengthy, and a lot of people put a lot of grind into it, and to say that if after 1 month, if you can't dish up $4, it's all gone, all that time was wasted, that's not right. It's not right.
Yeah, and that there's no grace period or even like we said, there's workarounds, but all of them cost money, and the way that Nintendo prefers you to do those is the way that costs more money. It's not even as simple as like Panther said, plugging in a USB storage device or something like that, which most people have in some form or fashion, or a thumbnail drive, or a portable hard drive, whatever it is. There's easy ways that this could be done that are not being taken advantage of. What they want you to do is spend more money on the Nintendo versions of these cards, or just keep your subscription. Now, like you said, it is cheap, but it's not about the amount of money. It's that it's not gamer friendly in the way that they're doing this. And I understand, they're a business, it's a service, they want to charge and all that stuff. That's fine. That doesn't mean that you have to be dicks to your customers, though. And the way that they're doing this is being dicks. Like, if you miss a day, like, if for people, I'm sure there's an option to buy it month to month. And some people do that because, maybe they won't play 10 months out of the year. So for them, they don't want to buy a whole year subscription or whatever. Or maybe, if somebody gifts it to one of their, grandkids or whatever, somebody, they give them a 3-month subscription card to online because they know they have a Switch, and maybe, their parents just bought them that, not the online thing, for little kids or whatever. So they give them some form to play online in the form of, say, like a 3-month gift card or a 1-month gift card. They buy it, and then it expires, and who's going to stay on top of that? Because the kid's not going to know better. The parents are probably going to say, oh, that's great, they can play online. Maybe they'll get tired of it, whatever the case may be. But then, I mean, like the day of, like Fatti said, the next day, just gone, doesn't exist anymore. There's no saves. No progress, nothing done.
I'm expecting some official statement from Nintendo, and they're going to be like, wow, the FAQ or whatever was listed, it didn't list that there's a 3-month grace, or they're going to change it. Because I mean, if they don't, they're stupid. If they don't commit with a statement of some sort to back why they're doing this, it's going to look bad on them. And I mean, like I said, I always, I get so sick of seeing everyone suck Nintendo's cock on fucking Reddit, like, oh, Nintendo can never do any wrong and yada yada yada. But the list of wrong things they've done with the Switch since launch is fucking long.
Yeah.
And this just keeps adding to it. I don't really see, is I the only one who sees this? Like, there's some good. There's some games that come out for Nintendo Switch have been great. They get great reviews and the great sales, but there's also been a lot of bad stuff, and it's like no one seems to see it. I'm like, man, y'all take the rose-colored glasses off and see that they're fucking this up and making mistakes. But I mean, until Nintendo gets their fucking head out of the sand and realizes this is not how you run an online service, this is not how you treat things, this is not how you force proprietary fucking SD cards on your clients, then they're not gonna make any headway, and they're gonna fall apart. Because people eventually will get fucking sick of it. It'll take some time because it's Nintendo, but it'll take time, and eventually people will be like, fuck this. And you ask Uber, I mean, how much does he play his Switch?
Right.
His young fellow plays it quite a bit. So is he gonna have to remember every month to go, and if he tops up or buy a year, is he gonna remember next year and make sure he gets the saves because his young fellow's gonna lose all his game saves? Because you can't back them up to a USB device. It's 2018, Nintendo. Smarten the fuck up. Jesus.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we don't pull the punches. And with whatever company, I feel like we're all pretty fair. We somewhat, myself, I have a bias towards Sony, but that doesn't stop me from calling them out on bullshit. And I feel like as a group, we're pretty good about that. We can take the bad with the good, and I think we do well at calling out these companies and games for anything that they need to be called out on. And I mean, I've never really seen the appeal in the Switch, and we've got 100 podcasts in our belt, you Panther, you and I, to prove that I've never really been a huge fan of Nintendo's practices or design choices. However, I can still look at it objectively, and like I said, for the Switch, it was designed to be mobile, to offer you different ways to play, and for me, that's the only plus of it. Is that it's not as powerful as its competitors. It's not as user friendly. It's not as durable. Like, it's very prone to breaking from every report that I've heard. The memory sucks on finding, just ways to go around how the company has designed it. That you have to do that really sucks. It's just more money into it. So the system itself seems cheaper at face value, but it's a lengthy cost. It's constant low prices that add up to certain things. So I disagree with a lot of what the Switch does, and I don't feel like that's because I have a bias against them. I just feel like, especially with the Switch, that they've made a lot of missteps. And like you said, Panther, this is just another one.
Yeah. Sad.
Yep. So we got 3 negatives in a row. Let's get out of this one track negative that we're in. We've got time for a few more topics. So Panther, something positive, bring us back. Talk to us about Spider-Man.
So the creative director, Brian Inthar. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong too, buddy. I apologize. I know you're listening.
Yep.
The creative director from Insomniac Games is a man who's been featured on, they say you hear, a billion interviews. Made this very clear on a video interview with the Kind of Funny Games crew early into a spoiler-filled conversation. And I'm not going to do any spoilers because this article is short and sweet. Made the point of saying that if PlayStation wasn't involved, this game might not have been made at all. This game would not exist if it wasn't for PlayStation, if not for their support. Anytime I wanted to do something and wanted to make some drastic change, it was like, okay, I never heard anything about it. It's just, let's go do it. The question was, is this going to make the game better? And I'd say, yep. They say, go do it. And that's be the last time I'd ever hear about it. So this isn't the first time I've heard that Sony being an extremely supportive partner when producing a game. And it sounds like the platform holder gave Insomniac full control of the creative aspect of the production. So here again is why Sony has sold over 65 million consoles, because game companies like making games for Sony. Now, yes, there is a controversy, and I'm going to bring it up, the fucking cross-platform bullshit. There's been a few things that Sony's done that not everybody's a fan of, including myself, and I know Baker, and I know Fatti feels the same way on certain topics about what Sony is good and not good at. But for the fact that Insomniac's not even a first party, they're a third party company. They are not under the Sony umbrella, and then Sony gave them full control over a game published solely on their platform is awesome. Yep. I'm not saying other companies don't do it, but the fact that Sony and PlayStation are willing to give a third party to complete full reins over their game and make what they want to let them produce it and publish it and on their platform is awesome. And definitely needs other gaming publishers and platform holders need to look at this and realize this is the way gaming should be done.
Yeah, I find it funny that, we're at this point where we are seeing Sony allow these third-party publishers to just do whatever they want. I mean, with Insomniac Games and Spiderman, and we have Kojima Productions and the UPS simulator. It's kind of the same thing. But if you think back like 10, 15 years ago when the PS3 was out, a lot of companies fucking hated working with Sony. So it's kind of nice to see them sort of turn things around. Now, I know back then it was a tech issue. It
was a big,
a lot of people had issues creating stuff for the PS3, but, Sony has really turned it around and sort of shown why they have those exclusives. I'll often say a lot of shit about Sony because personally I don't agree with a lot of stuff they do, but in some aspects they know what the fuck they're doing and they're killing it, and it just, you got to give them that hat off for it. They're doing good.
Yep. Okay, so I guess we'll move on here. Further related to Spider-Man and more positive news, so we're bringing it back. We're slowly crawling out of the abyss of microtransactions. Marvel Spider-Man has been affected by shortages in Japan. However, the PS4 Pro limited edition has sold 4,000 units, which is great for them. That's awesome. Trying to see what else is in this article at first.
And that 4,000 units is only in Japan.
In Japan, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes. And the UK charts have released some numbers, and they've said another awesome piece of good news is that Spider-Man is the fastest selling game of the year. And that's great news.
That blows. And one thing I always found funny, we always get these numbers from the UK charts, but we never, it seems months and months on end until we ever see anything out of the North America or US market. But yep. The UK charts are like within a week, they have like, oh, this game sold this many. Here's the charts. Here's the top 10. Like, why can't North America get their fucking shit together and give us some good numbers? But the fact,
we like the drama,
I guess we like to drag shit out. But yeah, the UK charts, they listed it as the fastest selling game of the year. That's astounding. And the numbers, if you look at that article from the one about Japan, the numbers are crazy. The sold 96.17% of total initial shipment.
Yeah.
So people had to start buying it digitally because they couldn't get physical copies of the game. That's fucking crazy. Japan loves Spider-Man.
Yeah, they do. And the UK as well.
Yeah.
It beat out a ton of games. Surprisingly, still The longest legs ever. I swear to God. Grand Theft Auto 5 was number 3 in sales.
How?
It just continues.
How?
How does not everybody have this game already?
I have no idea.
Don't know. But also number 2 was Dragon Quest 11. So I don't know. That must have sold a lot as well. But yeah, Spider-Man number 1 for the week ending September 8th, 2018. And it narrowly beat the previous record holder for the fastest selling game so far of 2018. It beat Far Cry 5. But it's important to note that was available on more platforms.
Yeah, exactly.
So Spider-Man beat the sales for Far Cry 5 despite being limited to only PlayStation 4. And again, it's awesome. I'm really happy that Spider-Man has had this much success because from what I played of it so far, and I haven't played much, but from what I played, it seems great. And I've only heard amazing things. And obviously we had that laughable topic last week about the proposal. But yeah, I mean, just happy to see some good news. It's nice. It's nice for gamers and a company to both be able to say that they won. It's nice.
And the biggest thing is that we know that Insomniac can do Marvel because Marvel was behind them 100%. And we know there's lots of other Marvel characters that could use video games made by Insomniac. So, and PlayStation, we already know, is behind Insomniac and Marvel. So, I see this being hopefully a long, not overly saturated, foray into some superhero games, but hopefully we get some good quality games down the road from Insomniac and Sony.
Yeah, I mean, I wish we had some more. If there was one aspect of like games and fantasy fulfillment that we don't really have as much as I would think, it would be superhero games because the movie market is just being fucking dominated, and I mean, like full on, like they own the market is all the Marvel movies.
Yep.
For superhero movies, as a genre, but even just throughout the regular cinema, I mean, these are the heavy hitters every year that everyone looks to now. And despite, how many movies have been released and people like me that have Marvel fatigue, it still is making billions of dollars. I mean, it's almost guaranteed success to release a Marvel movie now. And because everybody's going crazy for these things. So I am very surprised because video games and movies, they're not the closely related things or as close as they could be, but there's usually bleed over to where successful movies, if they can be ported, they become video games. Obviously, we've had discussions before about video games turned into movies. They're somewhat related, in ways that they tell stories, and obviously games are meant to be more interactive, but you would think that the superhero frenzy that's taken over cinema in the last 10 years would have translated somewhat into the video game territory, and it really hasn't.
This might be the jumping point, though. I just hope we don't get a lot of bad ones. That's what I'm scared of.
And we've had a lot of bad ones. We really, really have.
Yeah.
But there's been some good ones too. I think a highlight for me in the past decade's been the Infamous games. I thought those were great.
Yeah, not bad. I didn't play them a lot, so I don't have a lot to stay on. I did play a little bit both of them, but yeah, I just didn't. I just wasn't into them when they first came out, and yeah, I kind of missed the boat on them. But yeah, I mean, overall, those were well received games. So
yeah,
and I mean, this game here definitely like the numbers it's putting out there and the reviews are good. So we can only hope for more from Insomniac and Marvel.
Yeah, and other companies as well. There's a lot of companies that could handle a superhero game, and just hopefully you don't have to spend money to power up.
Yeah,
and we'll see where that goes.
Well, the biggest thing is just the time involved in the creation, development, and publishing of video games is a long process now. But yeah, I mean, we can only hope for more down the road, and I think we'll see more.
With how much of a success this game has been, I'm pretty sure that they're gonna start locking in some deals. All right, well, Fatti, if you have anything to add on that, go ahead. If not, move right on into our next topic, buddy.
I haven't played the game, but I'm looking forward to it, so I'm not going to say anything right now. But this next topic, I don't know if I'd say if this is negative or positive. It really depends on how you look at it. There's some different perspectives out there. Fortnite is ruining love. A report was recently released again from UK. It seems all of our cool news is coming from UK. It was recently released that shows Epic's famous battle royale game is breaking up marriages. The report released by Divorce Online states that over 200 divorces in the UK this year have been caused by Fortnite obsession. This number apparently represents 5% of all British divorces in the last year, which I know 5% seems small, but when you consider how many people are in Britain, that's kind of fucking huge when it comes to divorces. Now, obviously, the report is coming from a company that they obviously benefit from making divorces sound sexy, but if we take these at face value, and if the numbers are true, then we really have to say congrats, Epic, man. You've single-handedly destroyed love. Hope you're happy. And these numbers are only UK alone and only in 2018. So not counting last year and not counting all of the other places in the world that have Fortnite. So if it's only 200 in the UK, how much is it globally? How many marriages is Epic destroying with this fucking game?
And not just marriage, but how many relationships that are not classed as marriages?
Yeah, I mean, we're just talking about the legal classification.
Yeah, we're talking people that are married. How many boyfriend-girlfriend relationships have been destroyed? Or boyfriend, girlfriend relationships, because they were equal opportunity here at Beyond the Controller. But yeah, I mean, it's fucking ridiculous that a video game is been noted in 200 divorces in like 9 months.
That's wild.
I know like recently people have been talking about video game addiction, and it's kind of been, I've kind of shrugged it off, but after seeing this is kind of fucking mind-blowing.
It is.
That people are getting divorced because of Fortnite.
I mean, if my wife started playing Fortnite, I think the divorce rate would be drawn up pretty goddamn fast.
Shit.
I'm kidding though, but seriously. But I mean, I get it, man. Like video game addiction, and I mean, I know what it's like to sit there and binge game for like a couple hours without even realizing that 2 or 3 hours have gone by. It's not hard for that to happen. And I mean, I get like the online game and the way Fortnite is. It's quick, fast action. It's repetitive. You playing with your friends. It can be addicting. I mean, look at how many hours we put in Battlefield 3 back in the day, Baker.
Yeah, that's true.
Like the amount of times that we spent like 3 hours at a time, like a couple nights a week playing that game.
Yep.
So yeah, I could see how people there, because Fortnite is that, it's that the hot money right now that everyone's got to play it. That it's fucking crazy. It is. It's Fortnite. You fucking done it. You bastard.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't like your spouse,
quantifiable way too. We have a number now.
Yeah.
200, over 200. That's kind of nuts for just one area.
We know how much you suck.
Yeah, that's wild. And what a strange statistic to find. I mean, just somebody had to have heard about this and gathered that information, and that's just funny to me that process actually took place.
I like how in we have a document set up for our topics, and Fatti put his Fortnite is ruining marriages and this podcast.
Oh, that was me. I added
that's you put that in there. Okay, because
I was wondering if anybody was gonna catch
I was skimming through to see what was left, and I was like, see that, I thought it was pretty fucking funny.
I think we've only had actually 1 week where there hasn't been a Fortnite.
I think we had 2 weeks back to back. You broke
really?
The trend. Yeah, I think the last 2 episodes we didn't have a Fortnite topic.
Oh,
I think it got mentioned in an we were talking about something, and it got mentioned in the bundle, but it wasn't a direct Fortnite topic. So yeah, we almost had 3 weeks in a row.
We should have like a thing on our Twitter where it says it's been this many days since.
It's 20 days, yeah.
Well, after this podcast, I think we need to have this many minutes, and we haven't shit on Nintendo, because this next topic is a shit on Nintendo again.
It is. And nobody here to defend it either, because Uber's out. We're gonna have to start adding a counter. It's been this many podcasts since Uber's been here.
Yep. Our Twitter's gonna be nothing but counters. But yeah, this Nintendo Switch requires weekly online check-ins to play NES games.
Jesus Christ.
You'll need to connect your Nintendo Switch to the internet every 7 days to keep playing your NES games. The virtual console style catalog of retro classic comes as part of Nintendo Switch upcoming on. That is a fucking mouthful. Jesus.
Yeah, they're really giving you a mouthful with this.
God.
Yeah.
So their upcoming online subscriptions will include a virtual console, which, hey, that is cool. That is a fucking console seller, right? If they're going to keep adding to this library,
could be. Yeah.
You know, it's potential. I'm not saying it is. I shouldn't say it is. It's potential to be a console seller because, like, some of those old games are still fucking fun to play, just, you know, because they're fucking fun games. But it says you'll need to remember to connect at least every week in order to guarantee access, even if your subscription is a long way from expiring. If you have an online subscription, you're likely to be playing online regularly. That's if you play your Switch regularly, though. Ask Uber. Although maybe you're heading on holiday or maybe only playing the bus without internet and are subscribing just to play the retro games. Nintendo's method is different on how PlayStation Plus and Xbox games with gold titles work. As PS4 and Xbox One, both Sony and Microsoft let you play offline as long as you've downloaded the games on your home console and you still have an active subscription. But yeah, the active subscription doesn't change on all three platforms. But the fact that I don't have to be online on my PlayStation or like you, Fatti, with your Xbox to play the free games you get every month. But with Nintendo, if you want to keep playing your NES games on your virtual console, you need to connect to the online service once a week.
So let me get this straight. Let me just lay out the facts. Not only do you run the risk of having all of your save data erased from the servers if you miss a payment, but you also have to check in online once a week to play your games.
Yeah.
What the fuck, Nintendo?
Well, it gets better. Panther, what's the attached other article that you have?
Multiple Switch games, including Pokemon, Splatoon, and Dark Souls, do not support cloud saves. Nintendo's response to this original article, because this was an updated article, was the fact they're worried about fucking cheating. The vast majority of Nintendo Switch games will support save data cloud backup. However, in certain games, this feature will make it possible, for example, to regate items that had been traded to other players or revert to a higher online multiplayer ranking that had been lost. To ensure fair play, save data cloud backup may not be enabled for such games. To ensure that save data cloud backups, Jesus Christ, that is not a God, that's horrible. Nintendo, you can't even fucking have a goddamn article fucking written about you correctly. Cannot be used to unfairly affect online multiplayer rankings that feature will not be enabled in Splatoon 2. So they're not.
So now lay out the facts.
So
not only do you don't have enough memory in the system for the games that you want to play, some of the games will not fit on the core memory of the system, so you have to buy more memory. But not only do the games not fit on your platform, beyond that, if you save locally, you can't access them without a subscription to the online service. If you want to save to the cloud, you have to have a cloud service or a subscription to their online service. And if you miss a payment or if you let it go inactive for any amount of time, even a day, you lose all of your cloud saves. Beyond that, popular games that you want to play will not support cloud saves. Have I got it all? Is that it?
I hate that I want this fucking console. God, I hate that I want this fucking thing. Like, this is basically saying, here's this thing that you want. Let us take a shit on your chest before you can have it. Like, what the fuck, Nintendo?
This is so just like not consumer friendly. And for cheating is the reason that they give for no cloud saves? You can't save your game to the cloud because of cheaters?
Down further in the article, it says, we've also discovered the warning on Dark Souls Remastered, Dead Cells, FIFA 19, and NBA 2K19. It is worth noting that all these games support cloud saves on PlayStation and Xbox. While Pokemon Go can be explained away by this Pokemon company's often overbearing paranoia and desire to drive business to cloud-based Pokemon Bank subscriptions, the other included examples do not make much sense.
Right.
That was part
that's
of
what I was going to say. Also, is that the other games that are mentioned? Well, I mean, Dark Souls at the very least has cloud saves, but I mean, so many other games, and this just says multiple Switch games, including those. It's not only those that we've mentioned. There are others. There's multiples, but that's their reasoning. When obviously most of these are multi-platform, they're not Switch exclusive. Not all of them, at least. So if other companies can support cloud saves and they're not having this problem, then that's Nintendo even admitting that they can't feature the same either security measures, or they're not smart enough to design the game so that you can even save it without worries. Like, what else can we say other than Nintendo is just fucking stupid?
This literally sounds like they had an engineer run up to them and say, listen, I read on the internet somewhere that you can apparently cheat online. We should stop that. And then they're like, okay, let's not allow cloud saves, but let's also delete cloud saves if they don't pay for them.
Yeah, fuck cloud saves. Or it's like some Nintendo exec got their phone wiped through a cloud save or something, and was like, I don't want this to happen to anybody ever.
We can't put this on the Switch.
Disable cloud saves.
Well, it's just so many mistakes were made. Like, yep. I don't know why they have to be like, if it's I don't know, it's like they're megalomaniacs or some shit. There's something not right with Nintendo. Like, it just blows me away. I still remember the E3 conference, not this one that passed, but the one before. They had their showcase, but all it was like, wasn't it Reggie talk for like a minute, and then they showed a bunch of trailers, if I remember correctly. And it was really weirdly done. And one of the games they kept promoting was this fucking anime hentai fucking game. I'm thinking, I thought Nintendo was all about, no nudity and no like limited violence, and they were supposed to be the clean side of gaming, and they don't like online because they're scared kids are going to be attacked by predatory perverts, but yet they're going to have a fucking game with like anime chicks with giant tits running around the fucking screen. Like, it blows me away that they think that's fine, but then, they go ahead and just want to rape their fucking users by forcing them to buy multiple micro SD cards, because I think the biggest one you can get for a decent price is 2 gigs. And some games require you to buy one because the game won't fit on their fucking cartridges, so you have to download it. So if you don't happen to have a network connection, you can't even download the whole fucking game. And now you have to have that micro SD card for that game, and a micro SD card for another game, because your internal storage is too small. You can't fucking download anything with it. So you have to have a fucking kit bag full of micro SD cards to carry your Switch anywhere.
Yeah, for individual games too. We're back to the Nintendo classic Game Boy, where each game is a different cartridge.
It
can't be played without it.
It's like they've all gone back in time. It's like they smoked some really bad fucking meth, because smoking weed wouldn't make you this fucking stupid. Like I said, when they announced the new Nintendo coming, man, I'll be honest that I was excited.
Yeah.
Until they showed it, because I said I grew up in Nintendo, and I'm thinking, okay, the Wii was innovative. It was, it became a gimmick, but it was neat. The kind of thing that came out when everything was kind of neat. The Wii U, I didn't play at all. I know, Fatti, you have one. I kind of get, okay, I'm done in Nintendo. They announced the next gen console. I'm like, okay, maybe they're gonna finally build an actual, console. Remember everyone loved the N64. We're gonna get an actual console, and I'm gonna actually get back to playing some fucking Nintendo games. But no, they're like, oh, take this to your basketball game and play it on the bench instead of playing actual basketball. Like, their commercials are so cringy, and they marketed like it's the best thing ever. The undock and dock and the clicking of the fucking the controllers, and don't get me started, the controllers are $90 fucking in Canada. Yep. Like, holy shit. I can almost buy 2 fucking PlayStation 4 controllers for that much money. Like, give me a fucking break, Nintendo. You made so many mistakes, you need to just start over.
Pretty much. And I was the same way, to where I didn't buy a Wii and I didn't buy a Wii U, and I'm not a handheld gamer anymore, other than what I can play on my phone. But most of my time spent gaming is not on mobile.
Well, your mobile phone's got a 1080 display. The Switch is only a 720.
Yeah, but what I mean is Nintendo's been marketing towards a specific
I know
crowd, and it just hasn't been me. And I grew up playing Nintendo as well, and so again, same scenario. They announced a next gen console, and I was like, okay, here we go. Finally, I can also get back into some Nintendo gaming because they do have some awesome exclusives over time. And I won't say that I'm happy about seeing a million different Mario and Zelda games, but there is good things to be had on a Nintendo console and Nintendo games. So when they announced the Switch, and I just immediately said, nope, fuck it, not interested. I don't care. I don't want to play on the tablet. That's not my thing.
And it was
I don't want it.
And it was funny too. Right out of the gate, there was negative people in the industry that were not happy with this. There was one fellow, I can't remember what game it was. He said his game will never be on this fucking console. He said that was pretty much his exact words. I can't quote the guy because that was 2 years ago now when the Switch was kind of finally really released. Has it been 2 years now? Year and a half? Whatever it's been. Like this was just when the console was being kind of released, and he was doing an interview, and he said his game would never be on this console. Like that right off the bat, before he even had his hands on it, he knew his game wasn't going to work on this. I mean, they're porting games that are 2 and 3 years old to work on this because it's so low end.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, okay, it's got some good specs. I mean, the Zelda game, everyone raved how well it was and how well it played and how well it looked. And the Mario game got lots of big reviews and people said it was awesome. But all the other games, they're porting over 2 and 3 year old games because the new games just won't work on it. Or they need 6 cartridges to put them on. Like some games, some of the games on PlayStation are 50 fucking gigs. You can't play those on the Switch.
Right.
So they can't play modern games. They got to take games and port them down. So what are they losing? I just, like I said, I was sad, and then it just keeps getting, more and more depressing. Nintendo just keeps making mistakes, and sooner or later the masses are going to see that the amount of mistakes are being made are not acceptable. It's just taking them a really long time.
Yep. Well, we're at 3 console generations now from Nintendo, to where I've disagreed with almost everything that they've done.
Yeah.
Inexplicably, they've still managed to strike gold. And so that's why they haven't changed. And I kind of, was hoping against them for this one, just for the fact that I would love to see a return to form. And like you said, there was a time where people couldn't live without a Nintendo console, and it was the household name, it was the leader in the industry, and they've just not gone in that direction. It's almost like they've said what made these consoles successful, and then let's not do that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They had their whole motion gaming with the Wii. The Wii U was basically Wii 2.0. And then the Switch now. But yeah, I would love to see, some powerful hardware. I'd love to see them get full support from other developers and to turn it around and make a console that, everybody can get behind, because I would love to. I only root against them in the way that I want them to fail and realize that what they're doing isn't, a great direction. And, of course, that's just my opinion, and anybody can disagree, but I'm sticking to it. That's what I got. That's how I feel. Fatti, anything to add?
No, I mean, this does piss me off, obviously, but I still want a fucking Switch. I can't help it. I cannot help it. I still want one, even though it's constantly getting shit on and Nintendo's fucking it up. I still want one, and I don't know why. So that's that.
All right, fair enough. Well, we are over our time now. That's about it. We did get through most of what we had. There's a few topics, as always, left over. But I think we did all right, considering the amount of controversy we had to deal with right there at the beginning. But we got some good, got some bad, and as always, controversial opinions and some sound clips that should never be used anywhere else. That's going to do it for us here from the guys at Beyond the Controller. Thank you so much for listening. Of course, everything that we've talked about is going to be linked in the YouTube description. For you guys on SoundCloud, we'll catch you over there. Follow us on Twitter. Make sure that you're keeping up with us on whatever platform you choose. and we will see you guys next time.